Thanks to TRP, I've finally dedicated myself to getting my life together. Lifestyle, body, fashion, money, etc. to work on becoming a man who is in the top tier of self-made men. I say self-made because if you're watching this, your life situation probably hasn't put you in that position by default. These are the men who, among other things, get the best years and the deepest passions of girls that the remaining 95% of men only dream about. But to become such a man will take years of intense effort, followed by a lifetime of maintenance. There are no shortcuts. See, there are two types of self-improvement, and becoming a top-tier man involves achieving the second type. 1. Improvement that you recognize. 2. Improvement that the world recognizes. Let's say you're a skinny bastard and start going to the gym every day for the first time in your life. Every week you'll see a slightly improved version of yourself in the mirror. Fantastic. Keep it up. In 6 months, friends who haven't seen you in a while will be blown away. But in reality, this is only the first kind of self-improvement. Just because you and your friends recognize and celebrate your improvements, doesn't mean the world will. In fact, if you're just getting started, it's almost certain that the world at large will not even notice your achievement. A skinny bastard plus 6 months of painstaking effort in the gym and the kitchen to now a guy with an only slightly below average body. Wonder why the hotties aren't responding well, despite you having made so much progress and being validated regularly by your peer group. It's because the girls are not comparing you to yourself from 6 months ago. They're comparing you to their world, to the hot, successful, fun, cool guys they've been lusting after and getting with since they were 12. Sounds unfair. Sure, but if you've embraced TRP, and I mean really embraced it, you've come to accept that nobody owes you anything, and sure as hell not these hotties. For me, this was the toughest part of the pill to swallow. More so than even the hypergamy truths. To get the results of the top 5% of self-made men, you need to pay your dues with an intensity of effort that only the top 5% of men are willing to exert. To play in that realm, you need to become one of them. To become one of them, you need to invest so ferociously in yourself over such a long period of time that your results speak for themselves, not just to yourself, but to the wider population. I'm not saying that the first type of self-improvement is not important. And I'm not saying that improving yourself is to be done only to get the world's approval, or that your approval of yourself is not important. I'm only making this distinction between the two types so that you don't make the mistake of expecting the world to respond to you as though you have achieved the second, when you have in fact only achieved the first. Because when your unrealistic results don't materialize, you will be deflated, drained, and unmotivated. The first type is a prerequisite, and it's only by appreciating your own results that you keep the motivation to stick with it long term. In order to improve yourself to the point where you're the top tier of men, it will take years. Frankly speaking, many of us here aren't going to get laid tonight. Some of you may not have been laid in months, if not years. Many of you may be overweight, if not obese. Others may be repulsively skinny. Some of you may have no friends, low confidence, or no sense of self-worth. Fine. We're in TRP here, where we accept the current situation, so that we can work on it and change it to our satisfaction. Having said all this, let's get to the meat of this topic. If you're this guy I just described, how do you lessen the sting of loneliness that you feel as you walk the path towards becoming a top-tier man? You may be on that first level of self-improvement where you recognize it and are feeling great, which is already a huge win. But the world hasn't recognized it and won't for some time. So you're still without girls and without the kinds of cool friends and life experiences that you want. You're still lonely. While you spend your weekend eating right, hitting the weights, shopping for nicer clothes, and engaging in 1 or 2 interesting social events that challenge your comfort zone, you feel good, though can't help but be reminded how alone you really are. You see reminders everywhere that people are currently living the life you want. Hot girls with cool guys on dates, big groups of cool friends at a restaurant together, good-looking couples enjoying each other's affections everywhere you look. It is literally everywhere. It can hurt to know that while so many other people are enjoying this night, enjoying this weekend, you are left with only hopes that your future will be better. Which it certainly will be if you become a high-quality man. Nevertheless, the sting of loneliness still exists today, since many men on TRP are already working to become that man. I'd like to know how you deal with the realities of loneliness as you invest heavily in yourself. Maybe you have friends, but they're the kind of people you're with only because the alternative is isolation. Maybe you have a girl you're seeing, but she's barely attractive to you and only slightly better than masturbation. You're going through the process of self-development and feeling a new sense of purpose and self-control, but you know it will be a long time before you can make a real dent in your situation. Before you reach that second level of self-improvement where you are in fact received by the world as a high-quality man. TRP is a journey, not a destination, but that doesn't mean you must confine yourself to a lifetime of loneliness as you commit to a lifetime of self-improvement. How do you keep the end goal in sight and not let your current loneliness or lack of immediate success derail your efforts? I know it's demoralizing, but there's actually no point pursuing this lifestyle and dream if you don't actually want it. Swallowing the red pill for me has been a realization of truth. I don't want to be in the top 10% of men in the sense that women will perceive me as being the top 10%. What I mean by that is, I don't want to work hard to improve my SMV just because it will improve my SMV, especially because being a wealthy bachelor is never how I foresaw my life developing. In actuality, swallowing the pill has been a realization and an acceptance of the futility and the reality of the void. If indeed I do become wealthy, or I do become stunningly attractive, or I do become this or that or whatever, it will be because I wanted to do that for me. I will become greatness for my own sake, if indeed I do. But as far as women are concerned, what sense does it make to me to elevate myself above other men, just so the vapid half of the human population can like me on a superficial level? This is where I'm having real trouble with some of the elements of RP. My life as I see it now is one bereft of pressure or ambition. I want to bum around for a decade and see the world. I don't particularly care whether I live or die. I am happier than I was, but I am happier more because I have embraced the utter sense of solitude that inevitably prevails when you realize that, truly, all men are islands. Hence, dealing with loneliness is not something that you can do on a temporary and ongoing basis. Rather, loneliness is the prevailing reality, and you have to determine what exactly you are going to do knowing that that is true. I know that seeing loneliness as the context may seem stupid to some, but that, I feel, is the nihilistic nature of things. That is why committing to self-improvement seems like a crazy idea to me unless you genuinely want it. For me, you have to accept and embrace loneliness first, and from there, progress to the point of deciding how you are going to deal with it. But I don't get the constant obsession here with being a high-quality man. Ultimately, you're going to pay your dues time, and again to win a prize that, at the end of everything, isn't much of a prize at all. It's just a few minutes of pleasure to make up for all those moments you felt jealous of the other guys. You felt rejected and hurt when the jocks got all the girls. Instead, get used to it for yourself. Otherwise, there's really no point to being on this journey at all. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It motivates me to create more content for you. See you next time. Cheers.